Yes, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this session of structural construction methods. In the previous class, you all had seen the different types of formwork, what is the importance of formwork, how important it is to use a good type of formwork, and how it plays a good role in reducing the cost of the construction also. Let us see the process of the formwork, what are the different processes involved, how do we erect the formwork, and how do we remove the formwork. Today we'll be seeing that. uh, Hope you all have gone through the previous class. If you all have gone through the previous class, this class will be very helpful to you all, and it will be very easy for you all to understand. Let us see it. Just see the formwork for wall. How do we cast the formwork for wall? See, you can see here, you can see this figure here. It consists of timber sheeting. It consists of vertical posts, horizontal member, rackers, stakes, and wedges. So basically here you must be imagining how, why do we need formwork for a wall. So as you have seen, with the increase in modern construction, precast construction has come. In precast construction, where we have come up with uh, already precast structural members such as slabs. You must have seen for metro rail, you must have seen slabs have already been casted before, and they have got to the site, and there they are placed there. So the same way, with the increase in technology, they are precast beams are also cast, precast columns are also casted, and the same way precast walls are also casted. They are got and they are fixed there the same way. But sometimes, if they are not precasted, they are also casted on site. At those places we need the formwork depending on the wall also. Where the wall is of simple concrete wall, it is a concrete wall. In those places we need the formwork of this type. You can see here the timber spaces are ms bar wedges there. Wedges are placed here, and this is the timber spacer. This is the timber space. It acts as a spacer. Here you can see, from here to there it is passing from here to there, and here there is a bolt here. So this is the timber spacer, and bolt with nut and head is there. The It is tightened here with the bolt, with the nut and the bolt. And here there are the struts at equal spacing. We provide struts so that it gives support to this wall. You can see the boarding here, which is in the between boarding here. A wedge has been placed here, and these are the bracings to support this formwork which has been casted for a wall. So this is the wedge here which gives the support, and these are the bracings here. And you can see here the concrete wall sole plate. So this is a sole plate here. From that the concrete is placed. From here the concrete will be poured from here. It will slowly settle downwards. It will settle slowly, and there slowly it is completed till the place we want to cast the wall. So you can see a concrete wall is here. After placing the concrete, CC sole plate is here. Wooden block packing is also there. So therefore this is the type of formwork which is used for a wall. So even this is essential here, what type of formwork we use. As I had told you in the previous class, there are different types of formwork. We have timber formwork, we have steel formwork, we have plastic formwork, as well as we have aluminum formwork. So different formworks have different properties. Mostly nowadays the type of formwork which is used is either it is timber formwork or steel formwork. Because I had told you the plastic formwork is not, it can't resist such heavy loads. It can't resist heavy loads. As the concrete, when mixed with because concrete is a mixture of coarse aggregate, fine aggregate, cement and water as well, so it becomes very heavy. So the plastic or the aluminum formwork will not be able to resist that load. So this is the formwork for the wall. This is the type of formwork, and this is how it is casted. This is how a small wedge is provided here. It is fixed to this whole plate. It is tightened here, and there it is fixed here. Okay, let us see the next formwork, wall formwork and its components. Just you can see here, you can see these, you can see here how it is fixed, the whole. Please see the figure carefully. See, these are the wooden planks that have been placed here. Wooden planks have been placed, and bracings you can see here. This is the steel plate which is put here to give a support to this wooden planks. You can see same thing here also. These are the wooden planks placed vertically. To support them, steel plates have been provided. So this type of formwork is used for a wall. The same way here, formwork is also casted here for slab also, and all of this has been used with the timber here. You can see here the same way. This is a huge column. Basically, this column is for a pavement, where most probably this is a deck slab here. Deck slab was huge reinforcement can be seen here to resist that huge load coming onto this. A timber formwork has been used with the steel poles also. Erected steel poles are erected here so that they can resist the loads coming onto it. So this is the way how formwork is casted here, depending on our need. Let us see what is next here. Formwork for column. This is the formwork used for column. This is how we cast the formwork for column. It consists of side and end planks, yoke, nuts and bolts. Two end and two side planks are joined by the yokes and bolts. See, the same way this is the yoke, a support is provided. Here you can see the nuts and bolts provided here. The same way here you can see bolt has been mentioned here. The sides are also tightened very properly so that the slurry shouldn't come out from these sides. There shouldn't be no leakage here. Nut can be seen here, yoke is here. This is the column formwork. It is a square column. The same way these are the plates. It is a steel plate which is being placed here to give a support to those plates. These yokes are being used, and these yokes are again connected with the nut and the bolt. So you can see here, this is how they are placed properly, and then we pour the concrete from the top until it is filled. After the required days of setting, we remove this formwork slowly. So by this type of formwork, we get a very neat we get a very neat edges. We don't find any honeycombs and other various things which are normally formed when we don't provide good formwork. You can see this figure also here. The same way you can see here, these are the supports provided, bracings are being provided, so that even if the concrete is heavy, all this can be resisted by these bracings provided. So this is how you can see here. Just see this a huge column is being casted here, and this is for a huge bridge. You can see a huge column. To support that huge column, you can see these bracings provided here, and this side all these bracings have been provided. This formwork is being supported by these plates, and they are fixed with a nut and bolt system. So this is how the formwork is done for a column. Let us see the erection sequence for a column. Let us see here. Prior to positioning column formwork, check that steel for the column has been inspected and clear for casting. So what happens before erecting this formwork? We have to check whether the steel which has been provided for that column is sufficient or not. Because once after pouring the concrete, it gets hardened. We can't remove it again. It will be very difficult to change the column steel again. So for that we have to first we should get the clearance from the engineer after he has inspected. Next, the position formwork for the column from predetermined grids. Where is the position of the column formwork? That should be aligned very properly. As I had told you before, if the alignment is not good, then there might be a very big difference as you move up above the floors. If the column is moved, if the reinforcement has been moved, it should be checked properly. Plumb formwork both ways and securely support using adjustable steel props. So a plumb will be checked from the top. It will be left, and the center will be adjusted properly. And if needed, they can be moved according to the need. The propping angle should be 45 degrees to the floor. This is the propping cleat. This is the profile how. So if support is being provided, it should be 45 degrees to the floor. Ensure the steel props are safely secured to the column, formwork and the floor, and that the adjustment for pushing and pulling is operational. This is what we are saying. This should be properly erected. They should be properly tightened so that if adjustments are needed, we can move it depending on our adjustment. Set out the positions of column clamps from a story rod. Positions also can be checked depending on how we have to move and where. Transfer the column clamp position from the story rod onto the column formwork. So this can be transferred, this can be adjusted up and down depending on our need. This can be adjusted. Even this propping cleat, as you can see, this can be use nails to support the arms of column clamps with wedging. Wedges are a small, you can see this is a wedge. These wedges are small wooden pieces which are used to adjust the formwork. Position and wedge the bottom, middle and top clamp set. Yes, we have to set everything depending on the position. We have to apply some wedges and set the correct correct setting should be done. Check the formwork at the top of the square. Top of the square also formwork should be checked whether it is proper or not. Position and wedge the remainder of the column clamps. We have to see if the clamps have been tightened or not properly, because sometimes after the concrete is poured, there are chances if they are not fixed properly, the wedges might leave, and from there the slurry might come out. Use a plumb bob suspended from a gauge block plumb the column. So we have to see whether the center has been correct or not. The final setting, all of these has been have to be checked before casting the concrete. When all the column formwork is securely propped, a final check must be made for plumb and column alignment before and immediately after the concrete has been poured and vibrated. So before pouring the concrete, alignment should be checked. After pouring the concrete, alignment should be checked. What happens is, we check though we check the alignment before pouring the concrete, after the concrete has been poured, sometimes this formwork gets disturbed. It moves away. Sometimes it happens. So we have to check after pouring the concrete also whether this formwork has not been moved from its place because of the concrete load coming onto it. So this is how the column formwork is done. Formwork for staircase, as I had told you, this is very essential. This is very critical formwork. It should be done in a very proper manner. So what are the points to consider when designing staircase formwork? Stair formwork must support the weight of the concrete. So it should support the weight of the concrete. As I had told you, because this is in a slant way, when we pour the concrete, the load comes onto the bottom. Then the concrete slightly it sets from bottom to the top. So the load comes onto the bottom. So here the formwork should be proper enough to take that load. Because of the slope of the stairs, some of the force is transmitted to the sideways. Because of the slopy nature of the staircase, the load is transferred sideways also. The formwork should be such stiff enough so that it can take the load of sideways. All formwork must be well tied together to prevent sideway movement. So we should take care sideway movement is also prevented. So such type of formwork should be done. You can just see here, upper beam form is here, placed here, landing for landing. This is the type of formwork done here, and this is for the stair. 4 centimeters plank is has been fixed here for the staircase. You can see here, post is there, 10 and 10 centimeters supports have been given at the bottom. 3 centimeters of sheeting has been given here. Lower beam, all this has been given to support the formwork. You can see here at the bottom also, these are the planks given here to support this type of formwork, because there is because the staircase is slopy in nature. So there are chances of load coming sideways also. So the formwork should be able to resist if the load comes sideways also. Normally we think it comes only in the vertical manner, but it comes in the sideways also for staircase. Just see here, this is a formwork placed for a staircase which is of steel formwork. This is, though it has capability of resisting huge loads, but still these should be casted in a very proper manner, because normally what happens, practically what we have seen is, normally if the staircase is not provided properly, there is a very huge difference which makes a huge difference comes up here. So even the riser and the threads are disturbed, everything is disturbed. So a very keen survey and a keen inspection should be done while casting the staircase. You can see erection sequence for a beam. How is the erection sequence done for a beam? Marking out and setting height for formwork. What should be the height for the formwork that should be set here? Beam height, because see, this is the beam here. You can see this is the beam going here. Formwork has been set here. So what should be the exact height from the bottom? We are not, see, slab height is still here, but beam comes with the slab. It should be it should be calculated with the slab. So this is the height. We have to see what height of the pole should be erected here for the beam. Assemble and position props, adjustable head jacks, formwork, bearers and supporters. So these are the adjustable formwork is there with the head jacks. They can be lowered, or they can be moved upwards depending on the height what we need. So adjustable, you can see here all these formwork has been casted here in a sequence depending on the height needed. The height for the slab will be different and for the beam will be different. Construct and erect side walls and beam soffit. So the side walls to the, you can see here side walls, you can see here, this is the side walls for the beam. This is needed here, side walls specially for the beam. Side walls are needed. Extension for beam forming soffit support, connecting beam forming support. So these are the side walls for casting the beam. You can see a bottom, these planks have been placed, steel planks have been placed so to support this load. Let us see what now we have casted for column and we have casted the formwork for beam. Let us see how to de-shutter it, how to remove it. De-shuttering means the process of removing the shuttering. Now how to remove it? You can just see here, order and method of removing formwork is shuttering forming vertical faces of the wall, beams and columns should be removed first. Shuttering forming soffit to slab should be removed. So the vertical faces should be removed first. These are the vertical faces. Vertical faces first, these should be removed, and then the bottom plates will be removed next. We shouldn't remove the bottom plates first and then the vertical plates. No, first the vertical faces of the walls and the beams will be removed. Shuttering forming soffit to beams or other heavy loaded members should be removed in the ends. As I had told you, this is these plates should be removed at the last at the end. These should be removed at the end. Okay, you can see here vertical faces of the wall will be removed first. Time, now what is the time when should we remove this formwork? This is very much important because practically just to increase the pace of the work, the formwork is removed before time, and if they are removed before time, it can lead to huge losses. It can lead to a very big loss to life as well as property also. You can see structural member, it is beam, sides, walls and columns. If ordinary Portland cement is used, 2 to 3 days. If rapid hardening cement is used, it is 2 days. Okay, if it is slabs, vertical supports remain intact. Vertical supports are there, but it can be removed after 4 days and 3 days for slab. Complete formwork removal for slab, that is for 10 days. Complete formwork removal. See here, only vertical supports have been removed after 4 days. The rest of the supports of the steel formwork, everything is there. Only vertical supports have been removed here after 4 days. This complete formwork removal is after 10 days, and for rapid hardening cement it is 5 days. Now for beams, removal of sheeting props remains intact, that is for 8 days. After 8 days only what is removed, props and everything is removed. For rapid hardening cement, 5 days. Beams and arches, see arches, it is a critical structural member, so up to 6 meters span, so it needs 14 days. For 14 days here also, if the beams are of very huge span, slab is of a huge span, we need 14 days. We shouldn't remove before 14 days. Sometimes the concrete doesn't get a desired strength, so for that we need to keep it for 14 days, 5 to 8 days. For rapid hardening cement, it is 5 to 8 days. Beam arches, complete formwork removal for more than 6 meters span, as you can see here, it is 21 days. 21 days is the ultimate time for removing the formwork, but if the spans are small and the structure is not too big, then at those times 14 days will be sufficient. But still it is very good if we keep the formwork for 21 days, but normally practically this is it is not happening in the market. So this is how cost of formwork, you can see for normal works, formwork costs about 30 to 40% of concrete cost. You can just see here what amount of cost can be reduced if we understand the cost being increased by the formwork. For normal formwork, cost about 30 to 40% of the 30 to 40% of only formwork. The cost of the construction is being covered by the formwork only. You can imagine now, if we want to reduce the construction cost, we should try to manage with that formwork which can reduce our cost. So it is very essential formwork, good formwork, and what type of formwork we are using. It plays a very important role in cutting the cost of the project. Failure of formwork, as I told you, if the formwork is removed beforehand, before the concrete has been set, it leads to this type of damage. You can see here the whole slab has come down. Whole slab has come down. You can see here the reinforcement is there, and I think this here the concrete had not been placed. Before that only bad quality of formwork was used here. Because of that, the damage has taken place in such a manner. If the concrete would have been poured here, it would have been worse than this. It would have been worse than this. Here you can see this formwork was just not able to resist the load of only the reinforcement here. You can see here concrete is not seen here, only reinforcement can be seen. So this formwork was unable to resist the load of the reinforcement. Just imagine if concrete would have been placed, then what would have been to this whole side. So this sometimes if it is on higher floors, this failure leads to failure of bottom slabs also. You can see here, just see here what happens. Generally some unexpected event causes one member to fail, then others become overloaded or misaligned, and the entire formwork structure collapses. See, one formwork collapsed. Because of that, the load was transferred to the other formwork. From that, whole of the formwork collapsed here. You can see here. Now what were the causes? It can be because of vibration, it can be because of inadequate bracing. The proper bracing was not provided. Unstable soil under foundations, so even that was not checked. If, whether the soil is stable or not, they didn't go for soil investigations, and they have just casted the footings and all, and at the with the load even the soil has been moved. So their settlements have taken place here, and the formwork was not able to resist this. The lack of inadequate control of concrete placement, so concrete was not placed properly. Sometimes it is placed only at one side. Because of that huge load, the formwork has was unable to take that load. Lack of attention of formwork details. So formwork details importance was not given to what type of formwork has been used. So this this also leads to collapse. Inadequate cross bracing and horizontal bracing of shore. Cross bracing is also required at some times when the spans are very big. Even that was not checked. Horizontal bracings were not checked, and this led to the failure. Passing traffic, sometimes because of the passing traffic, they are not stopped for the work. Even this because the disturbance of that traffic or some accidents, even this formwork can get damaged. Movement of workers and equipment on the formwork. Movement of huge amount of equipment and number of laborers are moving from here to there. So the amount of live load what expected has been increased. This might also lead to the collapse. You can just see here concrete is being placed here. They came here to cast the concrete here, and this formwork was unable to take the load, and because of that the whole formwork collapsed. You can see here all these formwork. This is steel formwork. It looks old, so attention was not given to replace them with the new ones. So that is why it was not able to, just to reduce the cost. Sometimes what we do is we feel because the many contractors come up with they want to reduce the cost of the construction. What they think is, if we go for some old formwork, we get those formwork in a reduced cost. So they take that type of formwork, but finally this they have to face this destruction also. So good formwork is very essential here. Safety precaution. Material used for construction of formwork must fulfill the specification. As I told you, there are different types of formwork. What type of formwork we are taking, whether it is able to resist, whether it is sufficient enough, whether it is up to the specification provided. We have to check all that. Formwork is fixed firmly and properly. That should be checked before going for the casting of slabs and beam. The inspection should be done properly, whether the formwork is firm or not. Construction area must be protected to prevent vandalism of formwork. Sometimes what happen, normally 1 day, 2 days before formwork is casted, we are ready for the next day slab, but there can be chances of people destroying that formwork also. This should be done. So construction area must be protected also. Warning sign must be put up at the area where the formwork is fixed to prevent entrance of people that may damage the formwork. If there is movement of people from here to there, there are chances of people disturbing the formwork. Just one formwork is disturbed, one vertical formwork is disturbed, it can lead to the collapse of the whole formwork. So the formwork must be inspected before the concrete is poured. So all these things are very important before going for construction of slabs or beam. Formwork should be very thoroughly checked, because it contributes to about 30 to 40% of the cost. So what we request is, we try to save the money at this place. The money shouldn't be saved at this place, because lives are more essential and costly than money. So the formwork should be better enough to take these loads. Hope this class was beneficial to you all. I request all of you all to please go through this class. If you have any comments, you can ask me questions in the comment section, and please give your attendance in the comment section. Thanks a lot for your patient listening. Thank you.